Theo Flove here. Let me show you something fascinating. This is a plant. And these are some roots. Plants have roots. And so do you. Where are your roots going? And I'm not talking about your family tree. I'm not talking about your legs. I'm talking about your past, your present, and your future. We have roots in all of these directions. And we're gonna delve deep into this today. Right before the weekend, actually. And why do we call it a weekend? We should call it a great end, because it's a great end of the week, isn't it? Everybody's partying and everything. And we do all this stuff in the weekends. At least people at my age, we usually go out partying or having some social event. And what is really interesting about that is we sometimes drink alcohol, and that has a tendency to affect us. Don't you think that your values may become a little distorted in those kind of scenarios? And values is exactly what we're going to talk about today. Because your roots are like your values. Because your values are what creates your roots. And we're going to go into this, so don't worry. I'm thinking this is actually going to give you some answers to why do you say what you say? Why do you act as you act? Sometimes we act like strange people, retarded people. We say things we maybe didn't think we want to say. And we do things that we may not be that proud of. Other times we do exactly what we want and we feel great about it. And we say the perfect words. And we just do the best things we can that we are really happy about doing. So why do we have these tendencies to do certain things, act in a certain way, and say certain things? We're going to go into that. And also today I'm going to fulfill my promise from last week and give you the secret sauce, the secret to success that Bruce Lee actually used. And it's going to be intertwined with all of this about roots and values. So, let's start with something amazing, an amazing story. You're going to love this story, it's absolutely fantastic. It's about the Pope. It's about Pope John Paul II. And its setting is at St. Peter's Square in 1981. If you're Catholic or something, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. I had to research. Anyway, 1981. Pope John Paul II. He was coming to St. Peter's Square in his Pope-mobile, and out of the blue, some guy pulls up a gun. And this guy's name is actually Ali Akka. He pulls up a gun and shoots at the Pope. And the Pope gets hit in the stomach, I think it was, and bleeds and has a tremendous accident. So, when the Pope is rescued and comes to the hospital and the shooter is arrested, it takes a long time before the Pope actually regains his strength and can talk again. And 5 days after he awakens and he speaks his first words, the sentence he says is, "I forgive the man that tried to kill me." These are his first words. After being like in a coma, dying, luckily surviving, his first words are, "I forgive the man that tried to kill me." And it doesn't end there. It's amazing. When he regains his strength, he actually went to meet Ali Akka, the shooter, and talk with him and tell him personally that I forgive you and I'm sorry for whatever we may have done wrong. Wow. How many people would do that? Do you know anyone who would really forgive someone who attempted to kill you? Well, Pope Paul II, John Paul II did. So, he must have had something. Think about his values. What kind of values do you think this Pope had? Do you think he was certainly affected by his religious beliefs, like, you know, do unto others as you want them to do unto you, and stuff like that. And forgiveness is a part of Christianity, I guess. But what's even deeper must be his value about prioritizing love, compassion, forgiveness over hate, anger, and holding a grudge. So he actually followed up on his values. He had a strong value. What can you say? He must have made a decision at some point, or he was born with it, I don't know. But at some point, he learned that love, compassion, forgiveness, understanding was more important to him than hate, anger, disputes, and, you know, killing other people, you know, execution, condemning. That may be some other people's values, and those may actually be good values in certain settings. But I think we generally agree that love, it's a loaded word, it's a beautiful word. Love is always better than hate. At least that's my opinion. You may agree or disagree, it's okay. So the point is, that's his value. He had some values that overruled all other thoughts and actions and everything. It was like, no, when it comes to this, I have to counsel with my values. And my values say love is stronger than hate. Love is better than hate. Compassion, forgiveness, all of this great stuff is what I want to practice. That's what the Pope said. And he forgave the guy who tried to kill him, the assassinator. And actually, the guy, Ali Akka, he's now free. After 19 years, he was released because of the Pope's influence. And he's written a book about it and all that. So it's kind of a beautiful story. I remember when I was a kid, I was really aggressive in a fun way. I loved playing video games and playing with soldiers and shooting stuff, you know? I love that in the video games. And when some criminal was displayed on the news, I said, why don't we just execute them all? I mean, come on, we're better off without them. I actually believed that. I wanted people, I believed in execution, many people do. But after I learned this, after I heard this story about the power of letting your light shine through, the love, compassion and forgiveness, even in a situation like the Pope was in. He was shot, he got the bullets right through his body. And he still forgave the man. After hearing that story, my mother told me when I was so young. She told me this story and I have always remembered it because it's amazing. She just read it from the newspaper and I'm like, are you kidding me? Can you forgive someone even in that situation? Yes, you can. When you have strong values, when you know what you really believe in. So I changed my mind at that point. I'm like, okay, maybe I started to doubt actually. I started to question, is execution a good solution? I don't think so anymore. I'm more like, I'm here with Mr. Pope, you know, thinking about compassion, forgiveness. I love that now. I don't want to try to rule anybody's life or try to take their life and think I'm God. No, I'll rule my life and I'll do the best I can. And I'm saying this because maybe you get some ahas. Maybe that's a good perspective to approach life. Maybe that would make you happier. Maybe that could give you a better vibe actually towards people. Even those who you don't initially like. When you come from a place that has love above anything else, or compassion, forgiveness, understanding, that's a really good word, understanding. When you come from a place of understanding somebody, you will really, really connect well with people. So, the reason for this story is obviously to talk about values and how in the past, like I heard this story and then I changed how I viewed things. My roots got updated. I had my roots in one place that said execution is awesome. And then some new information came to light and I decided that no, now I'm going to be rooted in peace, in love, in compassion, in understanding. You can do the same. What are you believing right now? What are your habits of thought? Because that's what roots are. It's just a thought you keep thinking because of some accident, some situation, some event, or even some trauma, or fear from the past. It's something you have experienced and you made a decision, either consciously, probably not. More likely than not, it happened unconsciously. And our goal here is to make you more conscious. Because when you're conscious, when you're aware, when you go into this present, this now, this right here and now, what's happening right here, when you're here, when you're present, when you have attention here, and you are conscious about your surroundings and what you think and how it affects how you feel, you know, just pure being here. When you are that conscious, you make really good decisions. You'll never let your emotions rule you. You will rule your emotions and cooperate with them. You can use them to create a certain emotion, or you can put it down a bit. You can do whatever you want when you master emotions. And one way to master emotions is to go to the past. Look at what's happened over there. It's like you look at what's over there and then you reevaluate it. Is this something that serves you? Is that habit of thought something that have a positive effect on your life? Is it helping you today? Is it a good thing for you and those around you and people in the world? Or just for you. You can be selfish and say, hey, I want to have my thoughts for me, I'll fix me first, and after when I'm good, I'll go out and help other people or work on that. No problem, it's all good. Do whatever you feel like. So, the past, it's like a big chunk of ice. You have so many ice cubes in the past. Because the present is like water. You're just flowing, that's the ideal space. As Bruce Lee said, be like water, my friend. You want to be adaptable and be able to embrace change and adapt in every situation, like water. When you hit the wall, you don't give up, you just flow around it, you know? You're adaptable, you're flowing, you're easily flowing, like a flowing river. But when you look at the past, it's like that water has solidified and become ice. And now it's crystallized as ice, and it's something that's there until you melt it. Some ice cubes you want to melt. Like if you had a trauma where you got slapped in the face or hit in the stomach or even just yelled at or someone told you were fat or something and you just took it in without filtering it with your consciousness. Maybe you had some kind of trauma like that. That's the kind of ice cubes you want to melt. You don't want that, do you? Who wants to feel bad about themselves? No one wants to. Who wants to feel aggressive towards men, for example? If you had a father or maybe a mother that said or acted in a way you didn't like and you just concluded that all men or all women are like that. If you have such a generalization, a thought, it's like a value. It's like it can be a negative value. It can be like I don't value women because they are always like this and that. If you think that and you're now aware, which is really good because now you can do something with it, your awareness melts it. Your awareness of something you do not want to be melts it. Now your work is to figure out what you want to replace it with. You got to know what do you want to have instead of that old habit of thought. Well, what do you want? And you can also install new ones. You can create new roots and grow them. You can place things in your past. You can look for things in your past, reframe it. You can look at it in a new light and gain more understanding. You can look at it through the eyes of understanding, and you'll have some insights that will give you tremendous benefit. Now you have a new root there. Now you have a new ice cube. And when you see an ice cube you like, this is mentally speaking. I know it's not a perfect example, but when you have something you like, when you put your attention on something and you like it, you appreciate it, it appreciates, which means it grows, it expands, it becomes more of it. When you have a cognition that it's something you don't want, and you're like, oh, okay, that's something I don't want, then it fades away as you replace it with something else. That's really important. You got to put something else there. Because if you're focused on it, you're still looking at, the melted water there and like, I don't like this, I didn't like that, I don't like this, and you still have it. You have to replace it. You have like, okay, I had this belief wasn't serving me or anybody else, so I'll now put in, I love all people, Some people I love more than others, but I've never met a person I didn't like. Oh, that's strong. Let's take something milder. You have to be able to feel it. That's why I'm saying we got to take something milder. Maybe your way is to stretch to, hey, all women aren't bad, all men aren't bad. There's certainly some good men and women. My men in the past, or my women in the past, were just a minority. It's not everyone. Of course it's not everyone. You reason about it. Of course it wasn't everyone. There's gotta be someone awesome out there, someone fantastic, that most magnificent woman, or most fantastic man out there. And as you think about that, you have created a new set of values, a new thought, a new belief that serves you. As you keep thinking that, as you keep reminding yourself of that good feeling, you will get more of it. And magic will happen in your life. And I'm not going to go into that, but really, trust me, magic will happen. It seems like magic. It's really logical. You can explain it in every kind of way. You can explain it through science. And at some point I will probably delve into that too. But magic, it will seem like magic. Your life will be a magical experience. So, roots. What are your roots? What are your thoughts? What are your values? Are you aware of what has made you who you are today? What thoughts are making who you are now? You can change them. No one can tell you you can't change, because you can. It's a fact. It may be scary, but as you get used to change, like water, you become like water. You'll just flow. It's no worries. When you get used to change, you will never fear it because you're used to it. So, let's take the last aspect here. The most important part. And this is where Bruce Lee really comes in. If you think about being water in the present, sometimes you want to visit the future, but you're water, so what do? You can heat yourself up. Oh, this is my imagination, but what does water become when it's heated up? It becomes a vapor-like mist. And that's what I'm asking you to do. Let's become vapor together right now. Let's vaporize and look into the future and become this gaseous thing that can view our future. What are we expecting of our future? What are our roots into the future? Have you made a connection to some place that you will be in the future? If you're taking an education, you would say, I will become this and that in the future. So now you have a route there. It's like a channel. And you're going to go there. If you have an expectation of, I'll never begin working out. I'll always be less than slim. I'll always be fat or whatever. That's an expectation for the future. And you're going to walk that channel until you change it. So let's move into the future and look at one of these problems, one of these challenges, one of these undesirable things that you place there. Think about that. Do you have any expectation about the future that you're not totally fine with? Maybe economically, maybe health-wise. Oh, I'm gonna decrease in health as I get older. That's a common belief. It's a retarded belief. I'm stepping on some toes here, but really, believing that you're just gonna have lesser and weaker and lower health in the future isn't really an educated point of view. Because there are amazing amounts of people who are old and incredibly healthy. I saw this video of a woman, and she had her own routine to have health, of course. I'm certainly not going to do something like her. She was a raw vegan person, growing all her food on her own, really good at that. And she looked like she was 30 years old. She was probably 80 or something. It's amazing. And her husband looked like her father. And that's just one example. You have people in indigenous tribes climbing trees and hunting until they were like 100 years old. Your health doesn't have to decrease. So, maybe you have that belief for the future. Oh, as I get older, I am gonna be weaker. No, that's not what you want. Maybe you can't believe anything else right now, so pick something else in the future. But let's say, okay, I want to be strong. I want to be healthy. I want to be vital and vibrant, dynamically vibrant. You can also pick something totally out of the blue. I want to feel happy and joyous and blissful, and I know I can. And I know I will. And this is my destined future. You can choose like that. You can go into the future, be there for a while, and then come back here. Become water again. Rain down and flow. And things have changed just by you observing something else happening for you in the future. So, let's end with this. This is Bruce Lee's letter. He wrote it in 1969 or something. Yes, actually 1969. It says right there. And this is what is called a chief aim. He got inspired by a book called Think and Grow Rich. Have you heard about it? It's written by Napoleon Hill. And he's talking about the secrets to wealth and health and whatever you want, actually. Yes, it's general, but really. This was what Andrew Carnegie, the richest man at his time, gave away, millions of dollars. He earned tremendous amounts of money and had his, he runs US Steel. A tremendously successful man. I have a feeling he was a very happy man too, from what I've read. And probably very healthy. So Napoleon Hill wrote this book after studying the secrets of Andrew Carnegie and all the successful people at his time. Henry Ford, the one who created the Ford Motor Company. And this is the recipe, he said. Define your dream. Create a chief aim. And Bruce Lee read the book Think and Grow Rich and did that. And this is what he wrote. It's actually available for it. This is his handwriting. This is Bruce Lee's handwriting. He wrote, "My definite chief aim." And this is what he's seeing from his future. He's creating his future right now as he's writing this. This is where he was rooted. This is where he had a firm, stable, solid belief in what the future would bring. This is where he was, this is what I'm gonna get. That's it. Period. I, Bruce Lee, will be the first highest paid Oriental superstar in the United States. In return, I will give the most exciting performance and render the best quality in the capacity of an actor. Starting 1970, 1 year after he wrote it, I will achieve world fame. And from then onward till the end of 1980, I will have in my possession $10 million. I will live the way I please and, pay attention, and achieve inner harmony and happiness. Bruce Lee, 1969. In just 4 years' time, he was well on his way to that. Unfortunately, he died young, in 1973. Maybe that's where he found his peace and harmony, I don't know. Maybe that's why he passed away. I don't know. Just suggesting. Anyway, he defined his dream, and within just a couple of years, he was so well on his way. He, at the point of his death, as he passed away, he had the status that he wrote. He wrote it. He said, this is what I'm going to get. This is where I'm heading. This is my future. I'll be there. And he is, or was. Great. So, decide where you want to go. Be clear about it. Visit it from time to time. Be clear about it to the degree that you feel good about it. Always have that as your main objective. Don't think about something that you don't feel good about. You got to feel good about it, because the feeling is what causes you to move towards it. It's the energy, the emotion. Energy in motion, that's what people call it. So you got to feel good about what you're thinking about. So, looking forward to helping you next week with something amazing. Next week is going to be so great. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Maybe love. Maybe, what was it? I had something on my mind earlier. Something awesome. Something amazing. So look forward to that. It's going to be out on Thursday. That's my plan. And please consider subscribing right here, I think, if I get the effect. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, subscribe right there on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, please consider liking and sharing. That would be really appreciated if you like it, and if you want to affect the people in your life. Maybe someone will hit it and watch it and gain some value out of it. I hope so.